Well, we finally get to welcome our first guest.
About time. Holy cow. We've been promising this stuff forever.
Welcome aboard, TC.
Nice to be here, man. Happy to be
Like
here.
like to have another I don't know, another
Perspective.
perspective, yeah, on the team kind of. I'm sure you probably feel the same way how we all feel about how everything's going right now, but
Yeah, I mean, in general, I feel like as long as we've known each other, we've always shared the same or similar views around this team and hockey in general.
yeah, for sure.
But yeah,
So I guess we can get into the Friday night. We were both there. We were all there at the game against Kelowna. So another great game. I think we got off to another really hot start. I mean, we dominated them in the first period. I thought
Mhm.
16-6 outshot them in the first period and put up 3 goals pretty early. It's definitely promising to see.
Haven't seen that in
Um,
a while.
no, absolutely not. And then after that, I felt like it kind of was more of a back and forth battle for the remainder of the first and then the entire second period. I mean, no goals
Yeah.
scored again until like midway through the third. Kelowna started pushing a little bit of a comeback, and I got a little bit concerned there. That one Czech dude from Kelowna just dominated.
Yeah, he
Jak
did.
Jakob Stancil. Hmm.
Stonsel, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I wonder if it's his first year in the league, but uh,
He's
oh,
a
he
19-year-old rookie. So, from what I understand,
this looks like yeah, NHL draft pick St. Louis in the fourth round from 2023 too. I maybe he was with them last year too. I
mm,
don't know. Doesn't look like it, but
yeah. Or if I mean, you know how these things tend to go. NHL teams pick these dudes out of Europe and then they bring them over to play in Major Junior to get used to the North American
right,
game. It
Yeah.
right.
happens. Yeah.
Happens
So
quite a bit, but he put on a good show for Kelowna. I was pretty impressed with.
He
I
did.
mean, I mean, not a natural hat trick, but it was every goal was in the third period, and that backhander that he had was
That
pretty
was sick.
filthy. Like you were telling me,
TC
Patrick
even
Kane.
said it looked like Patty Kane. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, I mean the how it exploded off the backhand short side. You don't see that very often. That's a special skill set. So
it's pretty. Yeah, it's pretty good stuff. But well, I guess we're here to talk about the Chiefs, so we'll start and talk about Shea Van Olm staying hot. I mean, a leader on the team, 20-year-old veteran guy, and he's making the most of it. Right now, he's leading the league in scoring.
Every game he's putting up goals.
I mean, he's putting up at least 2-3 points a game.
Yeah.
The that game on Friday, he had 2 goals and an assist, and then Saturday he had another 2 and 2. So nice to see from a veteran guy. Like I said, making the most of his 20-year-old season,
He
and
seems to be having fun out there for sure, as evident by his post game celebration on Friday, getting the star, too.
yeah, and then the home opener, he had a pretty good showing too. And he came out with the star. He had his phone out and was like
Yeah.
recording the fans or himself or whatever, and posted it on his Instagram. I thought that was pretty cool.
He's enjoying himself for sure. The whole team looks like they're enjoying themselves.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's nice to see kind of everybody having a good time and like
Yeah.
actually looking like they care as opposed to how things had been.
Yeah.
winning cures a lot of problems, boys.
Yes,
Oh, it
it
really
does.
does.
It,
Yes, it does.
And the crazy part to me is like, yeah, we're a young team. We have a lot of 16s, but most of these guys played last year too. And it's
Yeah.
just like a completely different vibe and everything with the new coaching staff. And I definitely think that they're a lot happier to be here with the guys that we have behind the bench now.
I agree.
Um,
Yeah.
let's see. Spokane 16 shots in the first period, tied a season high for shots in the period. That was another big thing that we've been talking about too, is like just throwing pucks on net, and it seems to be working wonders for us. Berkeley Catton finally got his first goal of the season in that game as well. What a pass from Ulmer.
Yeah.
Kind of guy on a there's a 3-on-1 and sauced it right over the defenseman, and Catton one timed it home. And
A short sauce, too.
yeah,
Hmm.
it was slick. It was just kind of a quick little snap. It was I'm glad to see that Catton could finally get that monkey off his back, because I'm sure that was kind of bothering him, 4 games in and he hadn't scored a goal yet, but he's still, doing his thing. He's put up points still. He just hasn't been able to find the back of the net, but I'm sure that felt good for him too. And Van Olm even made that comment on like the post game on the radio that he was happy to be able to help him get the monkey off his back. So Dawson Cowan in net, another excellent game, 31 saves, 13 in the third period. He looked dialed in as always too. I've been really impressed with our goaltending this year too. They haven't had to necessarily steal the show in any of the games yet because we're just playing a complete game like all around. And then, like we were talking about, the Jakob Stansel scored the hat trick in the third period. His first 3 goals of the season. Former Chief Michael Chichek with an assist on 2 of the goals. And then Chiefs held on for a 5-3 win. First line that night with Ekstrom being out of the lineup with muscle bleed or whatever.
Bruise.
Yeah, bruise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what they call that?
Yeah.
They moved Mathis Preston up to the first line with Catton and Van Olm, and kid's 16. It looks like he belongs on a top line in the WHL.
He fit right in.
I know I harp about it every week, but it's like his speed and his shot are ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unreal. And then let's see. So that game put the Chiefs to 4-1. Yeah, absolutely. That win put the Chiefs at 4-1 on the season going into Saturday against Seattle. Pretty hot from the start yet once again. 4-0 in the first period, or outshot Seattle 13-5 in the first, and pretty much just dominated them in every aspect of the game. The Coop brothers.
I'm glad they flew the coop after the game.
I don't like harping on officiating that much, but it was a little bit chintzy. I mean, that game on Friday, that 5-minute major on Sarkinov, I thought was a little bit questionable. Especially since he didn't face any discipline for it too.
But I mean, he was headhunting in that sequence.
Right.
I mean, I love him, but you can't say he wasn't.
Well,
especially already having a 2-minute penalty coming.
Yeah,
he had 7 minutes of penalties right there, but the check to the head, you saw that was a good call. But I thought especially after going back and watching it on video too, it's like that check from behind right after. I mean, he was clearly pissed that he took the penalty, and that's why he was running the guy. But it wasn't that bad. The guy kind of sold it pretty well. But that being said, it is still a penalty. Whatever. But I felt like that
wasn't the only questionable call.
The calls were pretty lopsided in both games this weekend.
They were, and some of them were not very good on either team either.
No, I mean,
we even commented on the one on Saturday night, and I said that was a pretty weak call, and you agreed with me. And it was a penalty on them even. It wasn't even on us.
Oh, yeah. No, and that's the thing. And like I said, I don't like harping on the refs too much, but it was pretty painful. But
the first time I've ever seen 2 brothers referee the same game, though.
Yeah, I don't think I'd ever seen that other Coop guy before. But yeah, like I said, Chiefs pretty much dominating in every aspect. 3 for 4 on the power play, 41-26 face-off win advantage, 7-2 on the scoreboard. Van Olm 2-2.
That's a big differential in face-offs.
No, it's huge, and we haven't. I mean, like I said, we haven't seen that in forever. I was looking at you can look at the scoring sheet on the WHL website or whatever, and it shows like the players' stats and everything for the game too, where I just had it pulled up. I don't know where it went, but I saw that Catton won like 7 of 10 face-offs on Saturday, nice. And Gillespie won 3 of 4 and stuff like that. So having centers that are actually capable of winning draws in all areas of the ice is huge.
Yeah.
Because it's the little things like that that can make or break a game. But we knew it was with Seattle, it was the battle of the 2 youngest teams in the league too. So
yeah,
Seattle definitely in their rebuilding phase again. But it's nice to see us actually able to put up more than 2 goals a game and not give up a crap ton of goals,
Right.
not having to rely on your goaltending and everything too. And we're not taking stupid penalties, even though there were some stupid penalties called against us. But it is what it is. The Chiefs picked up 7-2 win on Saturday. And then now we don't play another home game for over 3 weeks.
That's crazy.
Got the Eastern swing coming up, and I think the first game is Wednesday against Prince Albert up north, and then they kind of play some weird days and weird times. It's like they play Wednesday, Friday, and I think they play Sunday in Regina at like 1 p.m.
Hmm.
And then I want to say they play like a Tuesday and a Wednesday. They like completely skip Saturday. But I'm looking forward to watching the games, kind of seeing how we match up against those Eastern teams. I know a lot of those Eastern teams are projected to be really, really good this year. Like Brandon, I think they're supposed to be really good, and Saskatoon's supposed to be pretty good. So um those games could be fun. Prince Albert will be interesting. They got Lucas Crawl on their team, so it'll be nice to see
Yeah.
him again too. Other than that, going back to Saturday, I was gonna pull up those stats again. Mathis Preston had another goal on Saturday after he had two on Friday night, so he had another 3-goal weekend. Van Olm obviously stays hot. He's got 7 goals and 6 assists on the year so far, and after 6 games is damn impressive. Owen Martin's been great. He had another 2 goals and 2
Yeah.
assists on Saturday. Catton had another 3-assist game. And so he's climbing up the point ranks again after missing the first 2 games of the season. And it's cool looking at this website. They have like the head-to-heads between the teams. You're looking at the Spokane Seattle one from the last 5 years. Seattle is 25-4-2-0 against us in the last 5 years.
Wow.
That's nuts.
I
That's
mean,
crazy.
I believe it. I mean, it's
Me
been,
too.
dude, it's been trying times ever since the COVID season ended. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, it really has. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been, I mean, those last couple of years were pretty rough to be a Chiefs fan. You're looking for positives and like the little things. And
And Seattle was pretty good in those years too.
yeah,
yeah, they went to the cup. Yeah.
I mean, half their team is either in the NHL or in the AHL right now. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
You think of the guys that they had like Korchinski and
mhm.
Milic. I mean, they had Nolan Allen or whatever his name is. I mean, they had so
Yep.
many NHL guys on that year that they went to the WHL championship.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I don't want to say it's nice to see us beating Seattle because they're not the same team, but it's nice to see us beating Seattle.
Yeah. Now we got to do that against Portland.
I know
Yeah,
that's going to be kind of interesting.
I was just gonna say that's gonna be the biggest thing there is that, like, okay, cool. So they've proven they can beat these teams that are either a little bit below them or way below them talent wise.
Right.
Right.
I mean, I guess with the Eastern Swing, we're going to see it a little bit, but they got to prove that they can beat the class of the U.S., which currently would be not only us, but
Portland, Everett.
Portland and Everett. I mean, if they come out and lay an egg against those two, then I mean,
Yeah.
we'll still be a playoff team, but
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's going to be the huge test is the games against your own division. I mean, those are the biggest games that you can play too. Cause it's like,
yeah.
those are the guys that you're going to be chasing in the standings.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hopefully you're not chasing. Hopefully you're leading them. But
Okay.
I mean, it's the guys that you're trying to fend off or whatever, however you want to put it. We play a lot against Portland in the next 2 months till the beginning of December. We play them like 3 or 4 times. So that'll be a great test.
Good.
I'm looking forward to seeing Everett too.
Yeah, me too.
So let's see. Some more trade news from last week. The Chiefs picked up Smith Redmond from Edmonton in exchange for a 2027 5th-round pick. He looked great. I thought he looked pretty great. Both games this weekend. Guy's got a lot of energy and kind of a scrappy net front guy. Ended up picking up a goal in Saturday's game and thought he had another one. He sniped that one coming down the right side and went bar and then down like right on the line and then bounced out. The ref called it a good goal and we did the whole goal celebration, everything too. And then they went back and reviewed it. It didn't fully cross the line, but I mean, that's a hell of a shot.
Yeah. No, I was impressed with him.
I think that's going to be a great addition to the guys too. I mean, it's another veteran guy. I think he's 18. Yeah, he's 06, so he's an 18. And then obviously we have, Pyatt out for who knows how long, Armstrong out, Ekstrom's been out, who knows. I mean, I'm hoping that it's obviously not anything serious, but like we were saying, we heard Boyle say on the radio that he's month to month as well. But I don't know if he got those mixed up with the other two, but
Yeah.
hopefully it's nothing too serious there because Ekstrom's had a great start to the season too. But I think the addition of Redmond will be big too. It's a nice depth piece, kind of to add to your top couple of lines. So, what did you guys think, like overall on the weekend? Like seeing kind of how we performed, and then our special teams have been a lot better too. I thought that the power play was great. I think we were 2 for 3 on Friday and 3 for 4 on the power play on Saturday.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty damn good. I mean, overall, what were your guys' thoughts?
TC, you go first.
Okay. I was actually going to wait and see if you would, but
I can if you want me to.
No, I got it. I think my biggest takeaway from the weekend as a whole, and going back to last Saturday against Tri-City, just in the 3-game homestand in general, and I had told you guys this as we were leaving, I think, Saturday's game. It's so refreshing to just watch this team and at never any moment feel like this is a loss. Like,
yes,
like they could lose, obviously, but like I never over the 3-game homestand once felt like they were going to lose any of those 3 games, even when Tri-City counterpunched or when Kelowna or specifically Jakob Stonsel counterpunched. Yeah. I never seemed in doubt. And I mean, with Seattle, like they were, what was it, 20 seconds in was the first goal. So
yeah, something like that.
I mean, they're relentless. They don't give up on any plays. The forechecking is incredible so far. Coaching. I mean, what is there not to like so far? I mean, they've only lost 1 game, and it was a close one in Prince George. So yeah.
No, I agree.
I definitely thought that Prince George game could have gone either way too. They just ended up getting the better of us in the end. But what were your thoughts?
Consistency, all 3 games of the homestand too. It's like kind of like TC said too. For me, the back checking of the forwards every game that we've seen is something we have not seen. Every once in a while, you get 1 or 2 forwards that back checks. Everybody back checks. Mm-hmm. That's huge. How we adjusted from Saturday to Sunday, I thought we played good on Saturday to start with, and then we had discipline problems. And I told you at one point in the middle of that second period, I said, I feel like we're just hanging on and stuff too, because I felt like the Kelowna was the better team for the second half of that game, and we were just kind of hanging on. And then adjustments from there, whether it's coaching, whether it's players, whether it's both, and then coming out for the next game against Seattle and just turning it on and never taking their foot off the gas and playing a much better game from start to finish.
No, definitely. And like you said, it was like we were kind of hanging on there in the first half of the third period. They were starting to kind of catch back up to us. And then whatever it was, coaching or just the guys kind of buying into, not chasing essentially and catching back up and grabbing another goal or two to get another 2 or 3 goal cushion. So that's not something that we were used to seeing from these guys either. Once the opposition will score a goal or two, it's like they're kind of like, oh shit, we're not really like that anymore. Yeah, or at least not this early in the season.
I felt like they were struggling a little bit for the second half of that game, but it's like they didn't give in to that. They still got the job done.
Absolutely, and I think that shows that your veterans and your leaders on the team are doing their job too, because Van Olm was the one that got the scoring started right after they scored their second goal. Yeah. Came back and scored again. So definitely some positives. I think there's obviously still some kinks that need to be worked out, but again, it's early and this Eastern trip will help that without a ton, I think too.
I would think so.
Uh, Another note: Carter Essler, first WHL win on Saturday. He played a good game.
He looked good.
19 saves. Didn't have to do anything too crazy because again, we played a pretty well all around game.
Yeah.
But he looked good for the shots that he did face, and I think
Yeah.
that's the first of many for him.
One of the biggest keys for any young goaltender, doesn't matter what level of play it is, all the way down from, I don't know, mites all the way to the NHL, is puck possession. If you're
100%.
not putting pressure on your goalie to make unnecessary stops, or you're not turning the puck over in front of them, or just forcing them into situations that they're not comfortable with yet, that's huge. So maybe
Absolutely.
that, circling back to the Michael trade, I know we probably haven't touched on that since you guys last had your podcast, but I mean, they must have felt confident that they could play a puck possession game in front of him to have felt comfortable to offload Michael up. So, and from what we saw on Saturday, that was the case. Granted, Seattle's a bit down, so we'll have to see. He played the second game against
They're
Prince George,
Prince
lost.
right?
George, yeah,
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 they're lost.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we'll see it against better opposition at some point, but and who knows? Maybe Seattle figure some stuff out. And but for what I saw out of them on Saturday, I wasn't too particularly impressed. But
Yeah.
but again, with a young goaltender, he's what, 16. That's to play puck possession like that and not put
Yeah.
pressure on him. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't think
I'd
they
like to see
even,
more of it.
yeah, absolutely. I don't think they did that at all, even in the game he played up in Prince George. I thought
No.
even for, all the shots that he did end up facing, it's like they all kind of looked controlled, like they were comfortable with kind of how it was all playing out. I mean, we were down 5 guys in that game too, with all our NHL guys
Yeah.
out and stuff too. So, yeah, I completely agree. I think that's huge, especially for a 16-year-old to come in and have your first season be able to play in minutes like that with those guys around you is huge, and that's just going to benefit him in the future as well.
And I mean, with any sport, right? Doesn't matter if it's hockey, baseball, football, basketball. I mean, so much of performance is confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want your 16-year-old goalie to go out there and get shelled and then just break his confidence.
Right.
And, for example, like I'm a diehard Blackhawks fan, as you guys know, but Arvid Soderblom last year, they would just send him out there to get shelled night in,
Yeah.
night out, and he looked horrible. And it ultimately forced them to sign Laurent Brossoit, who just has a knee injury and isn't even going to start or play. So, yeah,
Yeah.
just an example
Yeah.
No,
of
yeah.
with goaltender confidence, especially young goalies.
Well, it's huge. Yeah, it's huge in any sport. I mean, like you said, in any sport with any player, like any type of player, it's like playing in those minutes where you're, especially as a goaltender, when you're getting shelled, it's just going to completely shut you down. Like it's gonna mess with your head to the point where you're gonna let in a beach ball.
Yeah.
And
It's demoralizing.
it is, and I don't want to harp on like the old coaching staff too much, but like Ryan Smith, like with his staff, it's like I feel like a lot of the times they left those guys out there way too long after they were getting shelled,
Yeah.
and you wonder about that kind of stuff too. It's like you don't know how long that kind of stuff can follow a player.
Mm-hmm.
But thankfully, it looks like that for the most part, at least in the early parts of the season, that hasn't been an issue, and everything's kind of working out as we thought it probably would going into this season. So I thought that was the goaltending is huge. It's nice having a really well-rounded team.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll take it. Better than I expected them to be from the start. I knew they'd be improved, but didn't think they'd
Yeah,
be this good and this much fun to watch.
I know. I mean, they look like they're free out there. They look like they're just having fun, and they're playing by the game plan, and it's all working out. It's like I feel like that the mix of age gap and coaching is probably pretty beneficial too. With like Toporowski's like my age, or maybe even a little
Right.
bit younger than me. And you have Brad Lauer, who's a veteran, and then Brian Pellerin, who's been around forever too. He was with
Yeah.
Portland for a long time, so obviously he's familiar with running a winning team. And so I think kind of having that experience plus like a young guy who's a little bit closer to the player's age could kind of share what the other coaches are trying to instill in them in like their own way, if
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense. Like kind of to a degree, and I feel like it's a nice mix, and I feel like that's probably really beneficial to these guys too.
Yeah. No, I think so.
Let's see what else I got here. I got Chiefs announced their full leadership group for the season. I thought this was kind of interesting, and I feel like we've been doing it for a couple of years now. They just haven't really said anything about it, but they're doing certain assistant captains for home games and certain assistant captains for away games.
Yeah.
So Rasmus Ekstrom's an assistant captain every game. Berkeley Cat and the captain, obviously, and then the home captains, assistant captains are Braden Crampton and Will McIsaac, and then the road assistant captains are Shea Van Olm and Sage Weinstein. That's kind of interesting. It kind of gives a little bit more. Um, I don't want to say leadership role necessarily because I feel like they all kind of play a leadership role, but having the A on your jersey obviously is a huge honor, I'm sure, for a lot of these guys too. So being able to do it even on just the road games or whatever
Mm-hmm.
is big for them. For I'm sure it's a big confidence boost for them too.
Oh, yeah. Spread the
And
wealth.
absolutely. And today we got announced Shea Van Olm as the WHL Player of the Week. No surprise.
No, he deserves it.
I mean, he had himself a hell of a week. Um, 6 goals and 7 assists for 13 points in the 6 games on the year is awesome, and it's so cool looking up at that the stats and seeing our guy leading the league in scoring
Isn't it though?
and seeing our team leading the league in everything in points.
Yeah.
Like we're still top of the entire Western Hockey League right now, which is awesome. And I like it, yeah, it's early, but it's still cool to look up and see. I mean, I looked
Oh,
up after
definitely.
we won the first game and I was like, oh shit, we're in first place.
Yeah.
Well, when you've been in the basement for 4 or 5 years, I mean, like,
Absolutely. That's
Sometimes you got to
it's
check and make sure you still have an attic.
yeah.
yeah,
I
no
mean,
kidding.
we've all been hurt recently, so it's learning how to trust again, right?
You're not wrong. That's a great way to
Yeah.
put it.
Yeah.
I'm That's a great way to put it. I mean, and we're used to getting hurt with all of our sports teams, right?
Yeah.
Especially
Don't
you.
uh, I don't got to get into that on this podcast, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's been tough. It's been tough for a while now.
Yeah. Blackhawks have been pretty rough for a couple of years and Kraken missing the playoffs. I'm pissed off about the Mariners still. I mean, it's nice having a winning team that you're a fan of, that's for sure.
This is true.
Yeah.
So now we're going into the Eastern Road Swing, and then the Chiefs don't come back home until I think the 25th of October.
Yeah, it's a long time.
But
Yeah.
this Eastern trip I think is going to be huge to kind of see how they end up playing it and how they end up coming out of it. If they go into it with the same mindset that they have been going into all these other games so far, which I obviously I hope that we do, and at least come out with a winning record on the Eastern Swing because we're playing some damn good teams over in the East.
Yeah.
And
It'll be interesting.
a lot of those guys are getting some of their NHL guys back from camp too. I saw Saskatoon got 2 of their guys back today, and so we'll be seeing them soon. And Brandon's got the top NHL prospect for the draft this next year, Roger McQueen on their team. So that'll be kind
Yeah.
of interesting to see too. He's a big boy, and I think he's right behind Van Olman scoring right now too. So it'll definitely be a fun trip. I always look forward to watching these games. So
Yeah, me too.
I'm sure the guys will be thrilled to play in front of their families and everything. A huge bonding experience. So
With
And I
Boiler.
think, oh, sorry, go ahead, Chad.
yeah,
No,
with
you're good.
Boiler.
With Boiler.
Yeah, the grandfather, I'm sure, of the
Yes.
No
bus.
kidding.
I will say, I think to circle back to your thing about family and stuff, I want to say at least half of the team is from either Manitoba or Saskatchewan. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's great that they get
Yeah.
to go home. And I mean, it's such a tough league. I mean, you got to remember a lot of these guys are kids, and they uproot themselves, move in with a family that they don't know, go
Exactly.
to a go to an American high school with kids they don't know. It's
No.
tough. And then they're expected to perform on Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, some Sundays.
Right.
You know, but it seems like the guys that they have now all as a whole have good heads on their shoulders. And I'm
Definitely.
going to be very interested. I know this is sort of like way down the road, but with the current 16 and 17-year-olds on the team, I'm going to be really interested to see which ones are in consideration for the academic award. I can't remember what they call it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
They do
but
one
that
for high
that's
school and one for college.
yeah, that's always a really interesting character thing to see. And usually, if my memory serves me correctly, the one that wins it, if he sticks around with the team, usually ends up wearing a letter later on in his
Hmm.
career. Like I want to say Catton
Yeah,
when
I
he was
think Catton did
17.
it last
He
year.
did win it
Yeah.
last year. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's obvious that the Chiefs as a franchise put a huge emphasis on academics, which is good.
Hmm.
Um, Especially because again, these guys are, I mean, they're kids, like
Right. You always
so
forget that
it's
with how skilled they are, that they're still in high school and
yeah,
Yeah.
like early college. It's crazy.
it's a hard thing. Sometimes you have to remind yourself of that, right? Especially
Absolutely.
through all those trying years we just got through. Just I mean,
No,
no, I'm just,
absolutely.
you see people not as much with junior hockey because it's obviously kind of a niche following, right? But like you see people say just some disgusting things
Oh yeah.
online about these
Yeah.
kids,
Oh
and it's
yeah.
like man, he's going through puberty. Like leave him
Yeah,
alone, right?
seriously.
So
His voice hasn't even changed yet.
yeah. So I don't know, just a little bit of perspective, I
Yeah.
guess. I don't know how I got here, but
No, absolutely, and you're right.
You're
And
fine,
like you
Dad.
said, it's you forget that these kids are so young with, how skilled they are at how they're playing and how some of them, I mean, to us, it looks like that they're just flying down the ice at NHL speeds because, I mean, obviously we don't see NHL games very often around here. So
mhm.
it's like it's a lot different watching it on TV than it is in person. But you always forget that these kids are 16, 17, 18, 19 years old. And I mean, we brought a couple of our friends to the game on Saturday, and she was like, I was pointing out that the scratch players are sitting up a section over from us, and she looked over there, she goes, they look like they're 12. And I was like, well, these kids are like 16, 17, 18, right? And she's like, wait, I thought this was the NHL. I'm like, no, this is not the NHL.
Yeah.
These kids are like in high school, and they're just mind blown by it. And I know
Yeah.
a lot of people that go to these games that still don't even realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I talk to people with some regularity that aren't in this kind of niche circle that we
Right.
exist in. And when you bring up the Chiefs to them, yeah, like you said, like some of them they don't even realize that they're not like they might as well be NHL players to them.
Right.
Like they have no clue. Like maybe they don't follow hockey, maybe they don't watch sports really at all. You know,
Mm-hmm.
hard to believe there's people out there like that, but that they exist. And
No kidding. I know.
and it's they don't realize it. And so when they go to these games as, casual fans, like let's do something family feast night. Let's take the kids out for hot dogs and a hockey game.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what they're watching, like,
Yeah.
and it's just reminding yourselves that as diehard junior hockey fans, we exist in a very specific niche.
For
Especially,
sure.
I mean, you guys starting this podcast, no one else is doing this for this team.
Right.
Right.
Like, but if you look at the average NHL team, there's, oh, man, I don't know, 300 podcasts
Oh,
of all
100%.
Yeah.
varying degrees of success.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
Yeah, and yeah, it is a very kind of niche following. It's a good way to describe it. But I feel like with this kind of stuff too, like in this league, the kids are learning how to be pros too, in a way, because I mean they play 68 games a year. They have to do like, press interviews sometimes and everything like that too. So it's kind of just like a stepping stone for a lot of them. Because a lot of them will end up playing pro in some form, whether it's after they use their scholarship or whatever, sign an ECHL contract. I know a lot of guys. I mean, a lot of guys we had last year did this year
Yeah.
and stuff like that too. So it's like it's a huge stepping stone for them. And I guess you, like you said, yeah, we got to realize that these kids are still young right now, but in a couple of years they could be pros. So
yeah, and um, you mentioned college.
mhm.
While we're on the topic, I don't know how much you want to get into this, but thank God the NCAA is finally going to vote on allowing these
Man, that is
guys to
huge, isn't
to
it?
Yeah.
play to play D1
Yeah.
because like it was already a really stupid rule.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, like, okay, you can't go play Division I hockey because you were a third liner and your teammate was signed to an NHL contract, but you never saw a dollar. That
Yeah.
what? Like,
Yeah.
it
yeah,
was already stupid. And you get all these guys who look at Shea Van Olm, for example, 20 years old, not signed. Maybe Berkeley Catton's going to make him a bunch of money. I don't know.
Hmm.
He probably will if he scores at this pace. It's not sustainable, but like he's going to get probably some offers from somewhere.
100%.
And if he doesn't, at least he has his college
hmm
scholarship through the CHL, and now they can parlay that into going and playing big time Division I college hockey. And it's
Yeah,
just from a hockey centric perspective, it's so huge for the sport. Like just in
absolutely.
general, because like college hockey already produces like studs, right? So
yes,
does juniors. Now you get to infuse that talent into college hockey when they're done, when they're after their 20th year, 20 age years, sorry. And then also you're removing another thing people don't think about with juniors is that these 13, 14-year-old kids who are up for Bantam selection are getting scouted by not just Canadian Major Junior, but by Boston College, Notre
Oh,
Dame,
hmm
North Dakota, and they're being expected to make a decision that's going to impact the rest of their lives. Are they going to play in the juniors and potentially flame out there, or maybe go play college hockey in Canada somewhere, or they have to decide, oh, I'm going to wait and go to college in 4 years.
yeah,
Like now, that is entirely removed, assuming they vote yes on it, which with NIL already being
I'm
a thing
sure
for
they
a few
will.
years, there's no way it doesn't. I mean, if it gets denied, we can talk about that on a later date. But
Yeah.
I just wanted to have a little aside because we did touch on this in person a little
No,
bit. But
absolutely.
I'm so excited.
Okay, there
Sorry
we go.
about
We
that.
timed out. No, 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 you're good.
Okay, was that all of us or just me?
No, all of us. All of us.
Okay,
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
I was like midpoint and it
I
just
know. I know.
it was all of us. Our meeting ended.
okay,
Anyway,
yeah. I mean, we've already
um,
gone probably longer than your normal podcast goes.
no,
So
it's fine. This is great. I mean, I agree though, and there was that one player from Regina that said basically was kind of challenging the NCAA and all those rules and said that he was committing to some NCAA school to play hockey after his WHL career is over. I can't remember who it was. But I want to say it was a school down in like Arizona or somewhere in the Southwest. He was committing to play like college hockey for them after his WHL career ended.
Arizona
And
State.
that was
Hmm.
all way before the voting
Yeah,
on that thing and everything too. So, and I feel like it'd be really stupid if they didn't, vote
Yeah,
yes on it because with the NIL deals and everything too, it's like all your college sports play athletes are making money already from those, and they're making quite a bit of money from some of them. So I don't
yeah, they're
understand. I don't understand how you can make that an argument about the Canadian Hockey League anymore.
yeah, they're all driving around in Lamborghinis and just
exactly.
getting
Mm-hmm.
in getting in freaking reckless driving incidents down in Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
uh,
But it's
so
I'm glad you touched on that because I honestly had forgotten about that because I remember seeing that they were gonna vote on that here soon. I want to say it's in the
yeah,
next couple of weeks.
it's the last report I saw was that it would be sometime in the next 30 days.
Yeah,
So and they're going to vote on it. I mean, the NCAA is a horrible organization, always has
Yes.
been. But
absolutely.
I mean, with NIL in its current state of just whatever it is, there's really no reason to say no to it. So just good for the sport in general, the growth of the sport. This is bigger than just Canadian Major Junior. This extends to the U.S. development programs and uh, you know European hockey, everything. Now these guys don't have to make this decision when they're too young to make this decision, or they got their parents influencing their decision, and now it's good. So
I always thought it
um,
was dumb that you had to have a 14-year-old, 15-year-old kid make that decision too. Because it's like
yeah,
they're like freshmen in high school at that
yeah,
point.
yeah, and I mean, you got mom in your ear being like, "Well, honey, I mean, Boston College, like,
Yeah.
Hmm.
free full ride tuition if hockey doesn't work out." Actually, I think that happened to the Chiefs. Like, was that like 4 or 5 years ago? They drafted some kid in the first round,
Yeah, it
and then
has
like
happened.
yeah, and then like 3 weeks later, he just said he was going to go to BC or
Yeah.
Hmm.
something like that.
They
So,
have, well, I mean, I can think of a number of Chiefs or like Chiefs drafted players that's happened to. I mean, we drafted Thatcher Demko when he was in
mhm.
juniors, and he ended up going and playing college hockey and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I mean, there's a number of guys that have done that, and that's the other thing is that it's going to make the WHL and the CHL, like OHL, Quebec League as a whole, so much better because you're going to have these guys who aren't going to be having to make those decisions come and play major junior hockey
Yep.
and then go play NCAA after that. So they're not playing in the BCHL, the AJHL, or whatever. Those leagues are going to be, who knows what's going to happen with those leagues and everything, but
Hmm.
it's going to make the CHL that much better.
Yeah. It's very exciting. Very
It is.
exciting.
It's awesome, and I'm curious to see how that kind of all plays out in the next couple of years. If players are still gonna, I mean, I'm sure that some players will still choose to play a lower level and then go play college. I'm sure that'll still happen, but I feel like the majority will come and play for their junior drafted teams and then go on to NCAA after that. I'm sure. I mean, they'll be able to commit while they're playing for those teams and be a little bit older and not have to make
Hmm.
that decision so young. So I think that is
Yeah.
huge for sure.
And the lasting effect is, it allows these guys to at the very least extend their careers, right? So,
Yeah.
think about how many any potential NHL players have just disappeared
Hmm.
because they were a late bloomer and
Yep.
they maybe they got a free agent look, maybe they didn't, and then they kind of just disappear into obscurity because for
Just
whatever reason,
just no
Canadian,
opportunity. Yeah.
yeah, no opportunity arises. But now they have the opportunity to go play at a a big time college hockey program in the States because for whatever reason, Canadian college hockey is not. I don't know, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
they can now go play somewhere and potentially have 2 or 3 more looks from scouts who, yeah, maybe they're there to check out the 18-year-old Hobie Baker finalist, but oh,
Mhm.
hey, here's this 24-year-old hair on fire guy who's just everywhere all at once. Like, let's give him a look. So it's
Yeah.
yeah,
You wonder how that's going to affect like American kids who are drafted into the WHL too, because we have like that US priority draft now,
mhm.
and you don't see a lot of those guys coming to play juniors because they want to play NCAA. And so I wonder if that how that will affect like their decision making on where they're going to play their junior age careers. I mean, I know they have some junior programs like the USHL and
Yep.
everything too, but I feel like for some of the kids from like, the West Coast, like California and Nevada, Arizona. I mean, Arizona is a pretty hot hockey bed now, as funny as it sounds.
Yeah.
And and I mean, even up here, I mean, there's a couple of kids that were drafted in the U.S. priority draft from like, I mean, we have Brody Gillespie's from Vancouver, Washington, and there's a kid from Tri Cities who's playing in Victoria now and stuff like that. So you kind of wonder how their decision making will be affected by that vote as well.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. Overall, just it's a good thing for hockey as a sport. So, I mean,
Agreed.
we want the sport to grow. People on hockey Twitter are kind of funny because like they'll in one breath say we want it to grow and then they'll try to gatekeep,
Yeah.
mhm.
but like
Absolutely.
That's
I
human
I'm
nature.
yeah, I'm in favor of anything that's going to grow the sport. And I've like I said before, I thought for the longest time I've thought this rule is ridiculous.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
and it's good to see that it's finally going to go away. Honestly, like 3 4 years too late because NIL has been around for about that long now.
Hmm.
So
I remember saying that when the NIL stuff first started with NCAA, it was like that was gonna. I felt like that would change the ruling with the junior hockey and stuff too, but we hadn't really heard too much about it until pretty recently when that they said that they were gonna end up voting on that. There's rumors,
yeah, so
but yeah, that's about all I got, fellas.
TC, thanks for being on with us.
yeah, it was. I've been trying to do it for a while. Just as you guys know, I'm finishing up a lot of stuff right now. Got another kid on the way any day now.
Yeah.
So
You don't even look pregnant.
uh, yeah, well,
You're wearing it well.
thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
You're so very kind, Chad. Uh, but no, I hope to make appearances on here every so
Absolutely,
often.
man.
Oh yeah.
Especially, it is kind of funny. Like I probably said to you guys way too many times at this point, but of course they're getting good again, like as I'm about to move to the other
Yeah.
side of the state. So
Right.
at least maybe when that happens, I can be your West Side correspondent or whatever.
There you go.
There you go.
And
I
Perfect.
like it.
check out the team in Seattle and Everett. I don't know. We'll see.
I like it.
Absolutely. But yeah, you're welcome on anytime. Love the
Yeah, thank you.
extra insight, and
Definitely.
thanks for doing it, brother.
Yeah, man. Of course, anytime.
All
And you
right.
look good on camera too.
Oh, thanks.
You betcha.
You're so sweet.
All right. All right, fellas.
Love you, boys. Go Chiefs,
Yeah.
go.
Go
Yep,
Chiefs,
go Chiefs, go.